Today we continue on the defensive side of the football, talking about the most notable defensive tackle free agent moves so far this offseason. I'm going to be giving analysis and grades for all the moves we're going to be talking about today. And before we begin officially, alrighty, and welcome in everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic, fantabulous, awesome freaking day. My name is Garrett Shumake, and you're listening to the Shumake Take. Welcome in everybody. Hope you all are doing well. And a couple things before we begin. Obviously, we're talking about defensive tackles. I'm going to be breaking down every position of the defensive side of the ball in its own separate video. So edge rushers, which you can go ahead and check out after this one. And then linebackers, corner, safety, which is going to be their own videos as well. So it's all going to be separate. So it's going to be a little bit better quality, I think, instead of doing a one big video like I did with the offensive side of the ball. And also, if you guys haven't noticed, my camera's a little bit closer. So if you haven't heard my discussion about that on the edge rusher video, I'm doing a little bit more of experimenting for the Shumake Take over these next few months as you know, the news kind of wears down a little bit, free agency and the draft. You know, we'll talk about that stuff when it comes up and when it's ready. But in the meantime, I'm going to be doing a lot of experimenting with setups, with camera angles, right? Different, you know, props and stuff. And we kind of want to put a poster here in the middle, like right here, I think. You can see that right there. There's a door right there is white compared to this being like, you know, that. Whatever we want to call that, like wood. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to put that back to the middle and put a poster. That'd be kind of cool. I plan on doing that at some point eventually. So there's going to be a little bit of an experiment. And also, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both got paid by the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm going to be making a very different type of video talking about those moves. Hoping you guys check that out and enjoy it. But before we begin officially, if you guys are new around here on the channel and you guys like the content that you're listening to, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. It's free, completely free. Oh my goodness. My mind blanked. It's free. It's... Oh my God. All right, jump cut time. Okay, sorry. My brain just completely just gave out. If you watch my edge rusher video, I don't know why. I'm recording this one I recorded this one immediately after the edge rusher one. I cannot talk right now. I have no idea what's going on with me. But before we begin talking about the defensive tackles for real this time, if you guys are new around here on the channel and like the content that you're listening to, please consider hitting the like button and the subscribe button. It helps the channel out tremendously and continues to help me grow and spread my football passion to more and more people. It's also free, so please do it. It only takes a couple of seconds. It would help me out a lot. So let's actually talk about defensive tackles for real this time. Oh my goodness. So starting off, we're going to start with a bang. The Bears sign defensive tackle Grady Jarrett, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons, signing a 3-year, $43.5 million deal. This one is an A big A. Grady Jarrett is still a really good football player, and also adding a player to a defensive line. Now you have Montez Sweat, who is a really good edge rusher. Dio, I can't pronounce his last name, I'm sorry, formerly of the Colts, who is still young and has good athletic upside. And now you add a very solid, very productive, reliable defensive tackle in Grady Jarrett, also a great locker room guy as well. So now your front four looks a lot better with the additions that were made with Dio and now Grady Jarrett. And don't look now, but while all the flash and all the hype is with the offensive side of the football, of course, with Caleb Williams, right, finishing his rookie year, going into year 2 with Ben Johnson as head coach, right, this defense is looking to return to form in a huge way. The Bears' defense over the past few years mostly has been decent to good, right, but last year they really did not perform up to expectations, and that is mostly because the offense was very awful, really awful last year, which, yeah, led to a lot of people getting fired. But the defense also just did not they did not fill up. They also did not meet their end of the bargain as well as a unit. Like I said, the offense did not help them any. But also there was also a point where, okay, the defense also needed help on their defensive line. They also could use a little bit of help in the secondary. So adding on in the defensive line to adding Grady Jarrett, I think is a fantastic move. And it shows that, okay, the Bears are serious, not only about building their trenches, which has been a big theme with the Chicago Bears with their offensive line and now their defensive line, right, with the moves that they've made. but they are really making an effort to try and make sure that this Bears team is good next year. They are really trying to not just be good and take a step in the next direction or in the right direction, but they're looking to take a big step forward. And adding Grady Jarrett is a big step forward into improving this defensive line. I love the move, and I really am excited to see what this defensive line will look like for the Chicago Bears in 2025. Next up, two Vikings moves, talking about them back-to-back. Jonathan Allen agreed to a 3-year, formerly of the Commanders, by the way, agreed to a 3-year, $51 million deal that has a max value of $60 million. This one is also an A. Jonathan Allen is a very, very, very good defensive tackle, adds security to that position for a long time, which you pair up with Andrew Van Ginkel, you pair up with Jonathan Grenard, right? Dallas Turner, former first-round pick. And then you add on Javon Hargrave, who signed a 2-year, $30 million deal with $19 million guaranteed. That move is a B+, right? Was a veteran, hasn't been the same really since leaving Philly, but also a very good player, very reliable player, right? Someone that you want to have on your defensive line. Like, he is definitely a very valuable piece there. And combined with these two moves, this defensive line looks terrifying on paper. They somehow managed to get massive upgrades at that position. And like I said, it's a very terrifying defensive line. I already mentioned the edge rushers. Now you add these two guys in the mix, and you look at what the Vikings have done with their offensive line, trying to rebuild the trenches. They did just cut Garrett Bradbury, their center that was former first-round pick in 2019, and he actually went to the Patriots, which, great move for them, by the way. But for the Minnesota Vikings, I really, really like what they're doing with building the trenches, similar to what I've talked about with the Chicago Bears. So the thing is, it always starts and ends in the trenches, right? So bolstering those spots, which, by the way, for the Minnesota Vikings, their offensive line was okay. Like, it was a pretty good offensive line, right? But now you're improving it to make it go from good to great, and you're taking a honestly fantastic defensive line last year in Minnesota, right? One of the best pass rushing groups in the NFL, the best run defense in the NFL, and now you make it even better. And not only will this help the team as a whole, this is going to help JJ McCarthy. I don't know why, this is going to be a little bit of an off-topic thing. I don't know why everyone's talking about, oh, will Aaron Rodgers go to the Vikings, or what are they going to do there? They're starting JJ McCarthy. I don't know what what the media is trying to tell you guys. JJ McCarthy is going to be the week 1 starter for the Minnesota Vikings. There is literally no reason to not start JJ McCarthy. He was a top 10 pick, so obviously there's a high value there. And also, he was slated to be the starter last year, but got hurt. So unless JJ McCarthy isn't going to be ready for the season, which is not going to happen, he's going to be ready for the season, there's no reason to not start JJ McCarthy. You can't start him for a second year at this point, and then, okay, go into year 3 with him being his first year as a starter. You can't do that anymore. You got to start him this year, and he's going to start for the Minnesota Vikings at quarterback. So it's going to help them a lot. That being said, going back to the case in point with them building their defensive line, it's going to help JJ McCarthy out a lot, because when you have a good offensive line and a good defensive line, everything else tends to get a lot easier. Everything else tends to get better because the big guys up front, right, on offense and defense, they do the dirty work, obviously, but they're the ones that do the most, they get the least recognition, but they're ultimately like the core foundation of a football team. So adding to these two groups, going back to the defensive line, adding two very good starters. Jonathan Allen's still a really, really good top 10 defensive tackle. Javon Hargrave is a top 20 defensive tackle, in my opinion. You add those two guys and get a definitive upgrade at that spot. Now you're looking at a defensive line that actually probably on paper, I will say, is the best in football. This is the best defensive line in football on paper, and I will defend that. This is a really terrifying unit, and I love these two moves for the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm very excited to see what this group will do in 2025. Maybe if JJ McCarthy is good, we could see the Vikings become a Super Bowl contender. Who knows? But now it could be a possibility. It's in the realm of infinite possibilities. Now we move on to the Rams signing Poona Ford, a 3-year deal worth up to $29.6 million. This one is a solid B for a solid player that adds depth to a defensive tackle room that already has Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, and the Rams make their defense better with this move. And with the jump that I'm expecting them to make going into 2025, I really like this move. Poona Ford is one of those players that while he's never been like that elite top tier guy, he's always found a way to be a very reliable and productive player. Poona Ford is one of those guys that he's also one of those guys that really like tells you that size doesn't matter. Poona Ford's like an undersized defensive tackle, and one of the big knocks on him when he was coming out of college a long time ago. And guess what? He's been able to create a very solid career because he knows how to use his body to his own advantage, and he doesn't let it get in his way. The thing is, like, players in the NFL, like, if you know how to use your size to your advantage, whether you're big or small for what you're supposed to be, like what your position is, if you are good and you work really hard, you're going to find a place in the NFL. You're going to find a role. And Poona Ford is a guy who consistently has been able to find a role and be an impact player on every stop he's been in. I think this is his 4th or 5th stop in the NFL now. And Poona Ford is one of those guys that are very easy to root for. I really like Poona Ford. I like that he's going to the Rams with that young defense, adding a lot of experience and adding to a pass rush rotation on the defensive tackle group that already was good enough, but gets a lot better with Poona Ford. I really, really like this move for the Rams. I can't say that enough. Poona Ford, like I said, I love the guy. I love the player. So it's a really good move for the Rams. B, solid player. Really, really love this move. Lastly, didn't really talk about it, but this is not a big video for defensive tackle. It's only a small handful of moves that were made, and outside of these, well, everything else was kind of like these low-end depth signings, but this one is not. The Bills signed Larry Ogunjobi to a 1-year, $8.3 million deal, $8 million guaranteed, and with incentives, the deal is worth up to $10 million. This one is a C plus though. No shade to Larry Ogunjobi. It's not C plus because Larry Ogunjobi is a bad player or a mid player. No, Larry Ogunjobi is a good player, and he's been a starter everywhere he's been. The thing is, he's a little bit of an older player, good locker room guy as well. He's also has some injury issues, and his inconsistent play overall kind of slowed him down. But I wonder, like, the Bills do need another young defensive tackle to pair with Ed Oliver, and this makes me wonder, like, are they gonna, diminish this need in the draft? Which you probably could, right? It's not a great defensive tackle class, but at the same time, I mean, there's some guys in the, on day 3, on day 2 that you could take that have a lot of upside. So maybe they still do that, which could be fine. But also, this move is also a C plus because Larry Ogunjobi is going to be suspended for the first 6 games because of PEDs. Obviously, I don't know the full situation of that, so I'm not going to make any comments on it. But it is unfortunate for the Bills that he's going to be missing 6 games. But when he's going to be on the field, he's going to be a solid, productive, reliable player, which I've mentioned a lot ad nauseum so far between this video and the edge rusher video, which if you guys haven't seen that, go ahead and check it out. But overall, I like the move. It's just with the draft implications that this could bring, and also with the 6-game suspension, that's why it bumps down to a C+. Originally, I had this at a B-, so it drops down slightly. But when Larry Ogunjobi eventually steps on the field for the Buffalo Bills, I think he's going to provide an immediate impact and really help flesh out this defensive line and really improve the best part of their defense and one of the best parts of their team. But with that being said, that completes the defensive tackles, and that is going to do it for me today, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe button. It's free. Only takes a couple of seconds and helps the channel out tremendously as I continue to grow and spread my football passion to more and more people. We're trying to hit 50 subscribers so we can begin live streaming and have that opportunity available to us, and also try to hit 100 subscribers before the season begins. That way, when the season starts, all right, here we go. Let's hit the ground running and put the foot on the gas even more than we already are. But also, along with that, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, whether you're fans of the team that just signed these players, or you're a fan of or a fan of one of these players that left your team, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear all of it. And also, make sure you guys are sharing the video, whether it's by word of mouth or by social media, getting everybody locked in, locked on to the Shumake Take podcast, coming out with great content for you guys every single week. Like I mentioned in the beginning, it's going to be a very experimental time for the Shumake Take over these next few months as the content, as like the news window kind of slows down and we kind of get into a more dead period of the NFL offseason. So we're going to be seeing some really cool videos like the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase video, which will be coming out really soon. So make sure to check that out when you guys see it. But until then, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.